All right, I want to address the comment section from my last stream, if I can even on my phone wherever I put it. There was a user, and I don't remember his name because he doesn't frequently comment on my stuff, so it's a little bit harder to piece together who people are when they don't show up. But he said that he liked the Clone Saga. Here it is. Um, I did as I like ideas from it, but I just think it's really dragged out. So like I like Ben Riley, I like Kane Parker. There was another clone, Spider Side, that was kind of like a villain that didn't really get used that much. I like that it brought back the Jackal for the first time. I think it was 20 years because the first Clone Saga was in the early 70s, and then the little 5 issue one, and the second one was in the 90s. I don't know why you need popcorn for a stream, but whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of things I like about the Clone Saga. It's just too convoluted for me. I think if they had just not gone the angle of, oh, which one is really Peter, which one is not, I would have liked him more. I still like him more than, let's say, like One More Day or Brand New Day or Superior Spider, any of that trash. So by no means the worst story for me. It's just it's right there with Death of Superman and Nightfall for being those like '90s stories about one of the big three superheroes that kind of just goes on for a while. And I think it's probably the worst one out of the three. But yeah, nobody's ragging on you for liking the Clone Saga. There's a lot of things in it to enjoy. I just like whenever they use Jackal because he's one of the few non-lead Ditko era villains that people know about to some extent, but he doesn't get used that often because the first time he got used, he pretty much just it's like this multi-issue arc, and they get rid of him after that by having him sacrifice himself, and then for 20 years nothing with him, because he's dead, just like Norman Osborn was. Then they brought him back for the Clone Saga, except it was actually a clone, and then they used him for the what was that Spider Island, that thing that Dan Slott wrote. So he doesn't get used that much. Like if he gets used, it's usually part of some big, continuous ongoing story, as opposed to the other villains where he might show up for like one, two, 3 issues, and that's it. I heard a lot of good things about the Scarlet Spider ongoing that came out about I think 8, 9 years ago that had Kane as Scarlet Spider. So I might check that out eventually. I don't know. I've been breezing through a lot of those books because I'm still in the '90s. I haven't gotten to the JMS run, and then slots after that. Then Nick Spencer. Still a lot of writers to get through. Again, I'll get around to all of it eventually. It's just I've been like since December, just read a few issues a day, and then get further. And I want to do some of the X-Men ones because X-Men has a lot of classic stories. That's the only superhero book I've ever seen get canceled and then get this massive historic relaunch. Like it goes for about 60 something issues. Then Marvel just says to hell with it, and then they just reprint old stories for 3 years straight. And then Chris Claremont comes around and completely changes everything, brings in Wolverine and Storm and Colossus, and stays on the book for 15 years. Has the Dark Phoenix saga. He was like, I think you could make a case he's the best X-Men writer, even more so than Lee, because most of the like major stuff I see getting adapted comes from Claremont stories. Like to me, he is the X-Men writer. what was the other one? Oh yeah, and I mentioned before, I really liked Astonishing. That's why I always have that soft spot for Joss Whedon. I'm still big mad they killed Wolverine. Yeah, that was I don't understand that. Well, but you know what it is that there's like this really um weird thing about Marvel where they feel as if they can't do things without being ridiculously edgy. So you're gonna just eventually see every character get killed for a while. Like they did the same thing to Captain America. They have, Bucky take over for a while. Um just they like to do that where they run out of ideas, so they just say, "Oh, let's kill someone," and then people will buy our book. Look at Death of Superman, which I know wasn't by Marvel, but just another example of killing off a character so that people go and buy your stupid books. But see, that's why I like the Dark Phoenix saga, because a lot of people say characters don't stay dead in comics. Like, yeah, but Jean was supposed to stay dead. That was going to be the permanent ending of her character. That's literally the only main character I can think of in a comic between Marvel and DC, other than Jason Todd, that was intended to just be gone forever. Like the two of them, and then like Barry Allen, because I know that after Price on Infinite Earths, he was gone. We didn't see him for 20 years. It's the three of them and Norman Osborn. Like that's why it's funny that people sit there and do the yep, I bought into the Death of Soups. And you don't have to keep someone dead to have a good story. I'm just simply saying that the Death of Superman was always written with the intent of bringing Superman back. The Dark Phoenix saga was written with the intent of never using Jean again. So that was extremely ballsy. It actually does kind of affect you a little bit just to read. Like if you read X-Men from the time it starts to Dark Phoenix saga, I guess if you just look at it this way, like in the first issue, it has Jean join, like she's the member we see join the team. So I guess it's like this character arc of a 70 or 80 issue story leading up to her, eventual sacrifice. Just like I remember when I think that was Amazing Spider-Man 800 or no 700 is the one where Doc Ock steals his body and then we start the stupid Superior story. But I remember the I think it was 800 where you had Flash die, and I was like that really affected me because Flash had been around just as long as Peter. He debuted in Amazing Fantasy 15. And there had been multiple stories in the past where it looked like he was close to dying and he always pulled back. So, you know, that was it wasn't shocking, but it was sad. I also have Little Nas X versus Doomsday. Yeah, my dad had Death of Superman too. Not the sequel, but the Death of Superman. He had that story. I think he had the trade paperback. And I remember he had X-Men #1 with what was it from Jim Lee with the cover that comes out. I thought that book was so cool when I was in middle school, just because comics usually don't have those kind of like strange covers. Yeah, that's why I don't like Marvel and DC, because there's a lot of singular issues that never get reprinted, and that's why I don't feel bad reading the stuff online, because if you didn't, you'd have no way to read it because Marvel won't legally re-release a lot of that stuff. And then sometimes getting the books, see, I'm not sympathetic toward people a lot of times because these books are online for free. But I will admit that if you actually try to buy all of these things, you will just completely lose your money. Like I remember the Marvel Masterwork series. It's like 10 issues, and sometimes they sell those things for $100 on Amazon. Like, have you guys lost your mind? And it's weird too because the store price, where it's like $20, much more realistic, 20, 30, you know. Um, but they're weird like that, where they just like they get something they think is rare and they bump up the price, and then they're surprised when nobody buys it. It's like, who the hell can afford this, and who would want to buy something for that much? They did the same thing with this isn't about comics, but like with Iron Man 2. When the toys for that movie came out, Whiplash was the chase figure, so he was the one that it was harder to get. And online, I would like look him up because that was when I first started doing online shopping, and it was like 20 or 30 bucks just for that. I was like, who the hell would get all these different characters for like $10? And then, oh, you want the main villain of the movie? Oh, he's 30 bucks. No, that was nuts. That's why I said people online just they love to do ridiculous things with sales. Like they're just insane. Yeah, I wanted to read more of the Venom run by Donny Coates because I read like 8 issues of that, and I was really intrigued because they had Nolan. He's revealed to be the creator of the symbiotes. So I'll get around to that at some point or another. Marvel are real pricks when it comes to republishing their stuff or like making it accessible for someone to read it. Like through a legal means, it's very difficult with just all the different issues that they haven't reprinted ever. So that's why mangas at least have the courtesy of like, here's issue one, or I guess chapter one, chapter two, three, four, five. You know, Marvel doesn't do that. They just Marvel and DC, by the way. I just think it's really sad. But I'm not surprised. People always find a way to screw over everything. I think that picture I used for that romance video was from the Clone Saga. Yeah, because it's got Ben in there. I remember when he walks in the room and it's all those different um, spider clones just acting evil and trying to attack him, and they start melting. Let's see where this thing is. This guy was like, I don't know why you're so excited to have Michael Keaton back as Batman after 30 years. Like, well, some people, not me, but some people, um, like him the most as Batman, and they want to see either his story continue or conclude. And they didn't feel as if they had that with a film series where the two sequels to Batman Returns have different actors playing his character in both of them with different directors. So it's really not difficult to see where somebody would be excited for that. No, I looked at that Batman '89 comic. It looks really good. The art for it. It really does suck that they were able to pay Billy D. Williams to not come back as Two Face. Like you get imagine, I guess, getting a role to play some supervillain, right? But it's going to be developed over multiple movies. Like you're going to play this character at least once without them being the villain. And then it's like, oh, you thought you were going to have this role that goes on for several films and steady work. We got you. That was really nuts. Like it's very jarring to watch Batman '89 and then watch Batman Forever, and it's like, oh yeah, we had Two Face in this earlier film that supposedly is in the same continuity, even though he's played by a different actor. They look nothing alike, but whatever. I'd be really pissed if that were me. Like if somebody said, "Hey, we'll pay you to play what's a black comic film? Not matter. We'll just do one of the the race swaps. We'll have you play Electro. I'm like, oh, that's great. And then you play him for one movie, and it's like, oh, and the next one he's going to become Electro. Like, yay! And then the second one comes up like, well, we're doing the second one, but we would like to pay you out and make you not have to do this. Like, but I signed up to play Electro, not Max. And Two Face is a really good character to like have an arc for over. Like one of the things I think the Dark Knight trilogy kind of got, I don't want to say screwed up, but they wanted to use him in Begins, and then they replaced him with the love interest. But Two Face is a really good character to like have as a background major character for multiple movies and build up as eventually becoming an antagonist, because he's established as having like a friendship with Batman, and it would work a lot more, I think, just in terms of like a grander storytelling if it's given at least two movies, if not three. Because there are a lot of people who are like, in The Dark Knight, they have Two Face all the way. It's like, yeah, because they have to spend the whole film giving him enough time to be demonstrated as someone that is good, just so he can, lose everything and then become the psychotic killer at the end of the film. You get the idea that I think an arc like that works better if it's not constrained to one film. But nobody's done that yet, so it really sucks. I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I like Billy D. Williams. But, like, they really had, I like, imagine signing up to play a villain and then it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have you play him as a non-villain yet, but don't worry, we'll bring you back for another one. Then when they finally do them, they get another actor. Oh, that's jerk stuff. Let me see. Dio just completely stopped speaking after a while. I guess he gave up. That's why we need a new Dio. We're gonna have the same Dio for two movies, and we're gonna replace them with a new Dio for the Dio Forever film, and then there'll be another movie after that where it's a different Dio, and it'll be, I don't know, Dio and Robin or something. That's always hate about making references that, like, even stuff that I don't think is obscure. It's like I feel like people just won't understand what I'm talking about. I remember Death of Superman had, I think it was four different people claiming to be Superman. Again, it was an interesting story. It's just that I don't like the gimmick of death as a plot device. And the '90s really did seem like it was the time for just kind of like a weird revamp slash, oh, we're gonna have this character be edgy and kill this person, or this person dies or whatever. So that's why I remember when I was hearing about, because I didn't end up reading it, but the newest volume of Batman where they kill off Alfred, they have Bane snap his neck. Like that sounds like something that they should have done 20 years ago. It's weird to see it now. Because again, that fits in with the era because Bane was introduced, if I remember correctly, in the '90s. Just at the height of the whole edgy stuff. I remember that four different soups. Remember one was a cyborg, and then like it was so weird. But see, again, I would never call that story bad because it looked like they actually tried. I remember Steel when he had his movie made on him. Battle of what's that story called? The one, it's the one after Batman apparently dies but doesn't actually die. Um Battle for the Cowl. You remember that story from like 2009 where it's like these different people all wanting to be Batman. So you've got Dick Grayson trying to be Batman. You've got Jason Todd with the guns and the face visor thing. That's what that reminded me of. It's like an edgier version of that where it's multiple people trying to be the main character. Theo says, "No, don't recast me." Hey, your last name is gonna change from from Keaton to Kilmer to Clooney. No, bringing Jason Todd back was one of the just I think in the long term it's been a very dumb decision because I thought when I first like saw the because I was a kid when that happened, but I thought at first, oh, they're gonna have this like new villain that is like trained, like he's a younger version of Batman who knows who he is. Like it would be this really interesting dynamic, but then they make him an anti-hero. It's like, well, that kind of sucks. I don't know. I just feel like every time they have a character that's really interesting, they try to make them more heroic so that they don't, like have more interesting stories with them as a villain. Because I just think if Jason functioned as a foe, he would be a lot more just would stand out instantly. Keaton killed Clooney. No, I was watching Batman Returns this morning. I guess not this morning, but like, day going in the morning, like it's like 12, 11 o'clock, and then, it goes into the next day. I was like, wow, they really scrapped a sequel to this. That's crazy. I was like, what the hell? It is a very dark movie. I'll concede that, but I mean, I don't know. I just think people are cowards. They're always afraid of everything. No wonder Keaton didn't come back for forever. He's like, no, I'm good. We don't need to have one be dark and the next one be light. It's so light you don't even think it's in the same universe. Like it's really hard. I haven't seen Batman and Robin since I was a little kid, but it's really hard to watch the two after that and be like, oh yeah, this is the same series. Uh-huh. The only thing they have in common is the same actors playing Alfred and Commissioner Gordon. But other than that, it's just very weird set of events. It's funny that like they weren't going to use Catwoman in Forever because she was going to have her own spinoff, and then the spinoff eventually ended up turning out to be the 2004 Catwoman film that's like hated universally. It's like look at this beast you created from her popularity. What a terrific thing. I thought that was funny that like that spun off into one of the most hated films ever. What's up? How are you guys doing? Batman and Robin look like a rave. I don't know what that even was. Like you have Mr. Freeze, we have him making ice puns, and he's got this like weird costume. And then you bring in Batgirl and Bane, and they're like, what the? Oh my god! And then it's always lovely to remember that my former governor is playing the villain in the Batman movie. It's always a lovely thing to be reminded of. I'll be back. My state is the only one that had a governor that was a comic book villain portrayer. Oh my god! And I remember the first time I saw that film, it was I was in fifth grade. It's like 2009. It's like that was when he was governor. That's why it was funny that like the current governor is in this movie as the villain that makes ice puns. M Night Shyamalan. I've been disinterested in him ever since he destroyed the Last Airbender. Ranzil says, "What's up? How are you guys doing?" I don't know. We thought you had given up on coming to my chat, so we all felt a little disappointed. Arnold will always be the villain. Yeah, it's weird seeing him play the hero ever. But I just thought it was funny that when I first saw that movie, he was the governor. Like, just it just had like politics supposed to be like this really serious industry, and then the governor of your state is the villain in this movie. That is considered one of the like I don't feel that way, but it is considered one of the worst films ever made. I remember this one guy was like, "Oh, it's too bad we didn't get Batman Unchained. That was supposed to be the fifth film." Like, I'm not sad. Like, all they were gonna do is just recast Batman again and have some villain that dances and jumps and all the rest of that. So, I mean, no, it is. It's like they always make it to where when they don't make something, it sounds so cool. But then when you remember what they made before, that you're like, is this really that good? I don't think it would have been. You still got jokes. You have good sense of humor. I'm flattered. You're like, oh, there was going to be a Robin spell. I was like, yeah, it probably would not have been good. Like, if it's written by the same people and their stuff is getting panned left and right, figure it out. You get the idea that you can infer based off of the popular reception of the stuff they put out, whatever their next thing would have been like. We're gonna recast Dio, have him be played by three actors in four movies. At least the happening was all. No, I'm not trying to say everything he's done is bad. Like, I don't usually do that for creators. Like, I think Dan Slott is one of the worst writers of all time, but it doesn't mean every single thing he wrote was not good. The first two movies are always the best. The rest is just weird filler for some reason. Um, I mean, yeah, if you think about it, that kind of is true. Like, I know a lot of people who say, X-Men 3 was bad, but then they like the first and second one. And then, I know a lot of people that say Forever and Batman and Robin were bad, but then they like both of the Burton ones. So there is some merit to that statement. Can't come up with anything new, I guess. Now, you know what? That reception, that backlash to returns was insane. Like, they were so mad that didn't turn into the toy commercial that they wanted, where they had to stop them from making McDonald's toys and all the rest of that. So they went in a completely different direction, but not because the film, Returns was bad, but because it didn't make uh, as much money as they would have liked, and they had complaints from parents. I think that's so lame that we didn't get a third one with Keaton. And then the first time he's coming back after all this time is in some weird crossover Crisis on Infinite Earths wannabe movie B plot. Like, I don't even know what the Flash film is. Like, every time I sit there and it's like you have two Batmans in this. You have Supergirl without Superman for some reason. Cyborg apparently was going to be like, what is this? At least Suicide Squad didn't cast a Rock in their movie. Oh, you know what? Yesterday we were actually going over because I had some stream maybe about a month ago where some person came. It was a guy. He came on here talking about uh celebrities tend to have better relationships. I'm like, what? And that led me to kind of just start looking at certain people and how many times they had been married. Like, I basically what I realized is that while celebrities may have an easier time getting a partner, they're more likely to have gone through like multiple people. Like, basically, these people piss me off because they try to say that success in your professional life translates to success in your personal life, which is not true. That's just a pipe dream that a lot of people on the computer like to sell for their, self improvement crap. Like, imagine being one of the greatest wrestlers ever, Ric Flair, right? Because that's a sentiment a lot of people express towards him, and then being married 5 times, just as an example. Or hell, look at Stone Cold. Again, another contender for one of the greatest wrestlers ever, married 4 times. And Nicolas Cage got mentioned by James on my stream. He's a good actor, and he's been married 5 times as well. Yeah, you can go look up all of these people. I went online and I searched up and I said, damn. Hell, when I thought about it, I can only name like 4 wrestlers out of all the big ones that aren't, and I should preface this by saying all of the big ones that are from like over the last 10 years. So I'm not counting like Roman Reigns or any of those people, like the current ones, but like the big wrestlers from like 10, 20 years ago. I can only name like maybe 4 of them that have been married, less than 2 times. Like, it's just a common thing for these people to get married over and over again, even if they're very successful. Hey, look at Bret Hart, 3 marriages. But you're gonna sit here and tell me about how if you become famous and successful, you'll meet this woman and she'll fall in love with you. It's like, no, you'll have an easier time getting a date, and then maybe you'll get some broad to marry you, and then you'll get divorced a few years later. Just going off of trends that we've seen with famous people. They gotta stay working to pay off that alimony. Oh, Dio, come on, don't bring him up. Really? Come on. I mean, I guess that's another like I have a lot of sympathy toward him because I feel like it was brain damage when all of his friends say that that's not how he acted before that. Ugh. That's not too soon, but we're just giving examples of how people like to say that supposedly being more successful makes chicks interested in you, or you meet this great woman. It's like, again, we're just going off of patterns we've seen where there are famous people who, yes, will stay with someone, but more often than not, they go through multiple partners. It's not even just men, it's chicks too. Look at Scarlett Johansson. That lady is not even 40, and she's been married 3 times. Like, I even checked, she's been married 3 times in 10 years. I don't even want to bring up Kim, but that's another person with the same track record. That's why I don't watch WWF/E. I don't think I saw they get like a third of the ratings they used to 10 years ago. So, I mean, celebrities only date among themselves. Uh, I mean, I guess, but the point I was making in mentioning those different examples was that I have a person who comes to my stream and tells me that being more successful heightens the chances of you meeting this person that's going to fall. Like, he even said, fall in love with you. It's like, well, if these famous people who are way more famous than most people, right, uh, are still having to like go through multiple partners, this is clearly not something that just gets resolved once you hit this threshold of notoriety. No, that was insane. Damn, I would hate to be like, imagine being married 3 times before you're 40. And like, people might say, oh, you shouldn't, but the point I'm making with that is, I guess maybe marriage really isn't a big deal to people, like where they just cycle through husbands like every few years. Because if you think about the rate of marriages, like if you get married 3 times in 10 years, are you going to get married another 3 times another 10 years? Like that's why that was disturbing to me, just how frequently it happens. It's all about going through hoops to get one. Do you think it was a law about being ugly in the dating scene? Yeah, looks are like again, there are a lot of chicks that I don't think are pretty and they still have a boyfriend. So, I don't quantify most of that stuff. No, that stream was hilarious where that guy wrote that. ScarJo straight running through guy. Yeah, her and Kim. I'm telling you, like, if I would at most get married twice, because like you can convince a lot of people in the second act, like, oh, this other person will do, make up for what the one before. But after that, no, no more tricks. Hey, what's that one? I forgot the cereal was like silly rabbit tricks are for kids. That's what that with the chick. Marriage is a business because you need to sign a contract. No, I'm simply saying that when I have proof that there are famous people and a lot of them that go through multiple partners who they commit to enough to get married to, because if these are just famous people dating like this person is here would say nothing, but I had an individual come to my stream and say, "Oh, famous people have the best relationships." We already talked about chicks who don't fit beauty standards but still manage to have multiple. Yeah, that's why I don't believe, like, when people come to your video and say this person is ugly. Like, I don't believe it. Damn, I remember when I was in 12th grade, there was this one chick that was in my class, and she had like her hair. You know where someone's not naturally a redhead, and their hair is like actually dyed the color of red, like the crayon color of red. And she was kind of like, I just didn't think her like nothing about her was attractive. She used to gossip and say nasty stuff about people. And then one day I'm sitting in class and she's talking to this other chick about her boyfriend. I'm like, what human man would be interested in her? Like, I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. It's just like it was always funny to have these people on like this person's too ugly. Like, it doesn't matter. ScarJo can beat up super villains. Damn, it took 11 years for them to give her own movie, and then it's after she dies. So now, like, we people can't even get excited about what they're gonna do next. At this point, famous people should just do polygamy. No, really, out of like all those major wrestlers from back in the, I don't want to say back in the day, 'cause it makes me sound like an old man, but like, I'm talking about like the ones from like the early 2000s to the 90s, 80s. It's like Owen Hart, Eddie, Guerrero, Jericho, and then maybe like two other people that weren't married over and over, or like repeatedly, like more than once. Like, it's very common, at least in the wrestling industry, to have multiple wives or husbands if you're a woman. Oh, and Triple H as well is another one that only married one time after backstabbing China. At this point, athletes are known for having successful. I'm looking for that stream. I want to read what he wrote because I did. That was before I like looked up all these different people. A ScarJo film is like Owen Hart. What does that even mean? Owen Hart was a good wrestler. I don't care what anybody says. Like, yeah, he didn't get the belts, but I think if he had stuck around longer, he would have been about as famous as his brother, like a little bit under. James Harden playing for days. Dude, I still can't get over the Elizabeth Taylor thing. Like, because I remember John Warner, the senator, the one that died earlier this year. But it's like, I've never seen any other person that is famous that has been married 7 times. She is the only one out of everybody. That is insane. And again, stuff like that, it's good to know about when people try to tell you about this like fantasy of this perfect broad that's going to come and swoop in and save the day. I do remember that stream. That was really good. That guy really thought what he said was profound. Yeah, they always do it. They sound so convinced. He cracked the code. Well, YOLO, I'm not. That's why I said I'm not talking about wrestlers that came up in the last 10 years. I'm talking about the 2000s and then the 90s and the 80s, like eras before then. Because a lot of these people are, kind of young, like 30, 40. So it's harder for me to, uh, count them amongst like people who just showed, yeah, you'll get married over and over because that's just what you do. Like if you think Kanye is Kim's last husband, I've got bad news for you. Like I know guys that are like 60, 70, three wives, but not, oh, I'm not even 40 and I've had three husbands. That's weird. Because that means you just go through one after the other. I know this one lady that's like 70 something and she was married the third time a few years ago. It's like, yeah, that doesn't bother. I don't look at that as a strange thing because enough time has passed to where you can get this person to realistically believe they're intending to spend the rest of their life with this other individual. But with ScarJo, just as an example, one guy 3 years, and then like 2 years later, marry this guy 3 years. It's like, so that's why that was weird to me. Just how like short those marriages were. Like they all are timed at like 3 years or less. They'll sit up here tell me about how great the relationships of celebrities are. Get out of here. Go ask Phil Hartman how great his relationship with his wife was when she shot him in the head. Go ask OJ's second wife how great her relationship with him was when they found her head almost cut off her shoulders. Go ask Bob Crane how great his relationships were when he got uh, beaten to death with a tripod while he slept. Sit up here tell me about the greatness of celebrity relationships. Get that. It's like, who's dumb enough to believe that? Oh, thanks, Megumi. I had the screenshots of most of that stuff. Again, when you see a broad that nobody even sees what she looks like, get 50 men to try talking to her, that's how you know. Because remember, they always sell you that narrative. Oh yeah, magic woman will show up and like you for who you are, and then you live happily ever after. It's like, if that's true, wouldn't why do we have 30 men talking to one broad? Wouldn't there be 30 chicks talking to 30 men if everybody had somebody? Again, like their logic just does not add up at all. Makes no sense. Oh yeah, I thought Phil, he I'd say if I did like a top 20 actors, he would be in it. Like I really liked his voice on Simpsons as was it Troy McClure? Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I saw that on the Hill this weekend. No, that chick stuff, just people love to leave out certain details. They're like, oh yeah, work on yourself and become more successful, and chicks will like you, and you'll meet this person. And he really screwed himself up by saying you'll meet someone to fall in love with you. Because if you just said you'll get a date easier if you're famous, I would concede the validity of that, even though I think that would be a really ridiculous thing to tell somebody to do because most people are not famous. Most people will never be famous. It's kind of like if I said, oh yeah, just become a millionaire to get a date. It's like, yeah, that's an extremely ridiculous thing to have to do. Again, to get the tiniest bits of attention from abroad. But he screwed up by saying a woman will fall in love with you. It's like, dude, I watched enough Disney movies to know they're not actually based on true stories. I don't know what these people are smoking. Surprised didn't get much views or comments for that matter stream. Well, I told you that like a lot of the like people say the romance stuff gets attention, but it's only like older stuff that they'll come and watch or like actively seek out. Like if I remade the like why hookers are better than girlfriends video, I'd probably get like maybe 70, 80, 90 views. And like 2 years later, oh look, it's at 3,000, you know? Because again, they believe in promoting the same people at the top, and I'm not saying their names. And then, you know, if you're at the bottom, they don't share your stuff, they don't comment. That's how this website is. Unless you're at the top, you're just running in a circle. That's why for the political stream I did, I wasn't even like really that excited about having 100+ people on there because I knew that they like to watch one video and then they vanish. Like I've seen them do that to people before. I know a guy that's got 38,000 subscribers and like his top two highest videos are like 20,000 views. And every time he does a stream, maybe like 20, 30 people watch. You know, it's just that's why I don't like this website because they expect some man to pay their bills. Hey, they need to go and ask their dad to do that. Like again, imagine if I came on here and I said, I expect a woman that I get with to take care of me and pay for like, I would get laughed at. Told you when you sit here and just think about this stuff, it really shows you how everything is just geared toward chicks. Oh, I think it's a real big shame as well. But you know, like I said, this is just a website where people do a lot of like contradictory things. Like you know, that's really weird. Like they sing you praise on video. Oh my God, you're so smart. That's why I'm not going to watch any of your stuff or comment ever. It's like, why did out of all the people that watch my stuff on the video, only like a mod and then this bizarre character that won't leave, who wrote some strange comment. You can get a woman if you treat it with the utmost focus. Like what? Yeah, and good amount of women come with children, so yeah. Oh, that's another one they don't like to have mentioned. Remember, if you have preferences about broads, you're the villain. Like I had a person who told me, "You have a problem with Tom girls." And I was talking about how the one that I agreed to go on a date with, I didn't exactly what's the way of saying it, like her style. I'm like, you know, even if I didn't like what she did to herself, you know, physically, I still agreed to do this. So apparently, it didn't bother me to where I just said, "Oh no, to hell with you. I'm not some nitpicky bastard." But again, if you're a man, you have standards. Like I had somebody call me racist for saying that I would prefer to date a black woman over any other race, despite the fact that most people date people of their ethnicity. So I said on here, people will find a way to just make everything your fault and, you know, be just upset with you over whatever. This is a website of outrage. Like, how dare you have preferences? Wow, so as a guy, you aren't allowed to have nope. I told you that one of the strangest things I've seen on here is it being commonly known that men are like a lot more accepting of chicks than chicks are. Like that's just true. You know, we don't need polling for that. Like you don't have groups of guys complaining about not being able to get a chick if they didn't accept more chicks than chicks accept of men. And I had this guy from my comment section, you need to learn how to settle. I'm like, you're gonna tell the man that talked to 90+ chicks, some of which he never even saw what they look like, that he needs to settle, but not the chicks that are turning down so many men that there's entire groups based around not being able to get with the broad. You see how that's ironic? Like, oh, person who has literally settled for damn near anything with the triangle between its legs. Oh, you need to settle, not the chicks that, you know, have a litmus test with like 90 different requirements and will sit there and waste your time and talk to you even though they don't actually like you because that makes sense to them. About that comment, all that I said was that chicks that look and act masculine can still find a partner, even though there are guys who wouldn't date those chicks. Yeah. It's like if you don't have a car, society hates you. If you don't have a woman, society hates you. So why does society hate me if I can't be myself? It's not the same anymore. People keep talking. Well, they claim that YOLO, but like I said, I go out in the real world and I see men talking about how irritating chicks are. That's why I don't like the I word, because it tries to take every man that criticizes chicks and put them in a box and like assume none of us have ever, touched a triangle before. But it's like it's very commonplace among men to know like ridiculous stuff that chicks do. Like I said, my best friend, when he did that streaming, he has never commented on the issue with broads online. Was never part of any group. But that's why I said that like the number of men that actually has some variation of this issue with like again talking to a bunch of broads who never reciprocate, and then you're expected like it's much larger than people like to believe it is. Yeah, Megumi, it's a word to throw you in the box because you're not allowed to be an individual. That's why I did the video how romance dehumanizes men. It's not the same anymore. People keep talking about the old days. Well, they didn't have this technology. Yeah, that's why I said in my video, I was like, you try to get a date in the 70s or 80s, you didn't have to worry about some broad talking to 10 men from Ukraine and all these. Personality is like you had to be some kind of character to make people like you. And again, I don't know anyone that acts the same way all the time. So, like, that's why when I was talking about the chick in the video, which one was it? The one where I'm trying to remember the like woman tries to control me but fails. Um, it was really irritating to sit there and like read that stuff. It's like this is a person that is criticizing me for supposedly being negative about being unemployed, but then she's complaining about like wanting to take her life and how if something happens to one of her family members, and it's like, how the hell are you gonna sit here and tell me I have to like always act happy, but then you get to act upset whenever you see like how it goes back to that thing of how relationships with chicks, even platonic ones, are completely uneven. She can act whatever way she wants whenever she wants, right? But then you have to be happy at all times, or else you're being too negative for the person who said she wanted to take her life. So that was the biggest. That was just very lovely irony. You're over here talking about wanting to off yourself, but then you're gonna try to say somebody else is negative. And again, I don't do this to other people. I have individuals I speak to. Sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're not. But I don't sit there and go, "You're too negative for me." No, because I know that there are things in life that will occasionally bring you down, that you will find depressing, that you will want to speak about. And I'm just, again, I'm not a prick, you know? I don't act like people are cartoon characters where they have like a set program behavior that they never shy away from. Huge double standards, and it is in favor of the chick. Yeah. You act one way all the time, I can act whatever way I want. And that's what I call fairness. If you're a guy, you have a very sad fate when it comes to this. Hey, that's why I can't wait to do the self-improvement video. Because we're going to run through some hypotheticals in that one. And again, it's all stuff you can infer from just the way these people act on here. Always being antagonistic to the man, no matter what. The chick can be whatever way she wants, but if you're a man, you have to be happy at all times. It's like, oh, my dog just died. Oh, I can't get sad over that. Oh, these people are making it to where I can't afford to take care of myself because they won't hire me. Oh, I can't get sad over that. Oh, I can't go to school because it costs an arm and a leg. Oh, I can't get sad over that. I have to smile. Can never be upset. Oh, I did a video that I spent 2 weeks editing and it only got 10 views, and I wanted people to watch it so I could actually have my opinions heard out. Oh, I can't get upset over that. Again, they want you to be a real life Mary Sue, to be unaffected by things that any normal person would be affected by, to always have the same personality no matter what the circumstance is. And it's again, when you're not able to live up to their unrealistic fantasy, they get upset. It's weird too, because like every time I see a couple in real life, like I guess for like a long period of time, like the man talks about what bothers him to the woman. Like it's so weird. They're like, "Oh no, you're supposed to be confident and happy at all." It's like, who the hell can do that? Again, when you can't live up to their unrealistic fantasy, I really wonder just how bad this became. Well, it's pretty terrible because you have a lot of people that they peddle this stuff. Again, that's why I don't like the self-improvement people, because they're basically admitting that to get a random woman to maybe like you, you have to do these extraneous steps. And if they don't like encourage extraneous steps, they speak in like these vague, nebulous terms, talking about shadow work and improve this. And I'm like, what are these chicks gonna do other than have a triangle? You have to be confident even in the bathroom. Yeah, I'm gonna take this crap. I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna have this yellow stuff come out, and I'm gonna do it in 2 minutes. Get the timer. So I said it's like a cartoon. What year would you say when you suddenly discovered this imbalance? Um, See, I always mention that I didn't approach that many chicks when I was in like seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th grade, but like 11th, because that's when I first started like really going away from the you'll meet someone type of thing. Like back then I used to believe if you just either waited or talked to a few, someone you really liked, then it might happen. But that, like I started really playing the number stuff around like 2015, 2016. And that's when I started like seeing how you go on these websites and it's like chicks being swarmed by a whole bunch of men, right? And then the chick will still talk to you, but then nothing comes out of it. And then you complain about this to somebody, and they don't say, hey, maybe that chick picked somebody else because she has all these men talking. It's like, oh no, you're a piece of garbage. Work on yourself. And I saw how like no matter what happened, no matter like what the circumstance was, it was always your fault. Because again, you're like a lesser known version of Jesus. Like you have to be crucified for what these chicks do because they don't want to blame the chick under any circumstance. That's why I said that if there was like an alternate universe where I rejected 90 chicks, like if I just said, I don't want to date this person, I'm interested, I would get blamed for why I was single, like as a man. But then if a chick rejects men over and over, all of us are pieces of garbage. Because again, if you get rejected by a woman, it's your fault. And if you reject women, it's your fault. So, either way, it's always your fault because you need to be crucified and hung and nailed to the cross. I really do want to just start calling these RCs romance crucifixion because that's all these people do. Like if I go to school and I failed like let's say a math test, I don't have like my parents saying I've been evaluating your personality. Like it's only with chicks where like people engage in these like really weird litmus tests. Like they're like, I have been looking at you in this stream and I can point out all of your flaws. Like what the hell? Gotta pick your poison. No, but like around the time I made the first video on this is when that I just like, yeah, this is, and even then, like at that point, I wasn't like I didn't know about the like mass like attacks you'll receive over this stuff. Because again, at that point, every time I spoke about chicks, it was mostly limited to real life. And I don't like talk to chicks with a bunch of other men. Like it's usually other people that have the same experience. But when I did that video and it got like the 200,000 views, I saw all these comments just being nasty. Like, what the hell is this? And that's why I realized what game they're playing. That's why I don't believe in any of their like BS anymore. Because again, they're not writing that stuff to be helpful toward you. They're just trying to be antagonists. It's so many blue pillars have the tendencies of a woman thinking that they can't really believe they can do anything. I just don't see what value chicks offer if like all they're gonna do is reject all these men and then be used to stone men that these other men have not even met. It just seems like a really big pyramid scheme. Like let me tell you to work on yourself for a broad that as long as she says no, I'm gonna call you a piece of garbage for getting rejected by anyway. Yeah, I relate a lot to that video that you made. Which one? The romance crucifixion. Yeah, it's a big waste of time. Like again, you're not supposed to sit here and talk to a bunch of broads that don't like you for weeks and months. Like one of those bastards is supposed to say yes eventually. You really think that if like let's say some woman I thought was like hot, right, came up and started talking to me, you would think I'd be like, well, I might eventually like this person after they talk to me for a prolonged amount. No, you know when you first see her, you're like, oh, I want to go on a date with that person. It's not like it's funny. They always say that I make things more complicated by, I guess, analyzing some of it, like just talking about it in depth. But you know, they're the ones who are like, well, you need to be a hunter in the jungle. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Some of these people need help. They get paid to spew nonsense. At least then they'd have a motive. You know, like a serial killer, like a modus operandi. But these villains, they just come on here, right? And stuff like that guy that was on my stream talking about you don't have enough experiences to talk. Like every time he's on a stream, he's argumentative, and I'm like, who does that? You can't be too logic. Oh yeah, dude, let me just throw away all of my responsibilities in life to talk to women that don't give a crap about me. Dude, when that guy said go to the gym every day, I just wanted to vomit. I'm like, you know, isn't it sad that like you place such an emphasis on chicks, right? As to tell another human being, and I guess maybe you understand it like this. Let's say um there's a woman, right? She's talking to another woman and she tells her, oh, if you want to get with Justin, you need to go to the gym every day. Like people would laugh at such a ridiculous idea that you have to like do all of this physical regiment stuff so that this one man, you know, will maybe like you. But that was my point that like they take this fantasy idea of a chick and then they like hold it up against the reality of you and tell you that this fantasy chick is like worth doing all this stuff for. Because I said before, what if this woman is 300 pounds? She's worth having an 8-pack for, really? But again, it when you're not able to live up to their unrealistic fantasy, you know, they lash out. That guy really doesn't know what to do with his time is all. Which one? The one that was on those streams being argumentative, or the one that wrote "Go to the gym every day until you meet abroad, then still go, but not daily." Again, like people write that stuff, and it's like it feels like a parody. Like when I read my comment section with the stuff those people have written, you would almost think we live in some kind of like apocalyptic world where there's like only 30 chicks alive anymore. You know, like when you're seeing all these men talking to one broad or like the idea of having to do all that stuff for it's like who the hell wants to do that and who the hell has time to do that and who the hell would sit there and say oh yeah this is worth investing in like it's really nuts. Women don't have too much, men love women for who they are, that's it. Yeah, chicks get accepted no matter who they are. You're a man, you got to jump through a bunch of hoops and then still get rejected anyway. Because if you think that like going to the gym just automatically makes you appealing to chicks, I got a bridge to sell you. The guy who crashed your leg. Oh yeah, well, I don't know what's wrong with him. That's someone I apparently went to school with. I don't remember that individual. Um, I've had like 5 of them show up on my stuff before. It's really weird. I don't talk to these people. I don't know why they can't just move on, but whatever. Because women don't like us for who we are, so why should I? Yeah. But again, they'll get mad at me for saying the hooker thing. But I'm like, I just I think that there's a time and place for everything. And if you have to talk to a number of chicks to where you lose count of how many you spoke to maybe get a date, that's insane. Like I'd rather pay someone to go on a date over like 2 days, whatever, than sit here and talk to somebody for weeks or months. And I don't feel bad admitting that because these regular chicks that are supposedly not bought or whatever, they've already proven they're just going to keep wasting my time. Women really want to say it's our fault that yeah, but again, it's like there are short chicks and men still like them. Like every negative attribute you can point to of a man's appearance, a woman has it and she's still liked. Like again, I went on Facebook and I saw so many chicks that are like bigger than the man they're with, and it's like I don't see anybody go on their stuff going, "You need to lose weight so that this man doesn't cheat on you." Again, it's just accepted. I told you about this how I had the clowns talking about your necklace. Like I've never seen a man reject a woman or like not be attracted to a woman because of some accessory she has. Like get out of here. But that's why I said they just nitpick you to death because you're being crucified and everybody's taking their time to throw a stone. All they do is just nitpick. Nitpick, nitpick, nitpick. And it's like I do think a lot of these chicks are mentally ill. And what I mean by that is when I have a broad who says, "Oh, I want to go on a date," and then like a week later starts reneging and talk about she was really confused, like that's not just dumb to me. That's like there's something wrong with you in the head to even like be able to just like backflip that quickly. Because at least with the one broad that was asking me all that romantic stuff about like I showed it in the video, the I think it was the Stop Promising Me a Woman video where I showed the chick that asked me all the personal questions and then like bounced away. It's like I can at least infer that person probably had some other man on the side she was trying to talk to or whatever. But with that one, it's like you ask a man out, he says again, how how loco would I look if I asked a woman out, she says yes, and a week later I'm like, well, I just got really confused. You would think something was wrong with me. Because that's a complete waste of everybody's time. That's like just this ridiculous, absurd red herring. And only people who are just as insane as her would defend that. Cause you make things harder. That's I don't know, man. Or they call you banana. We already talked about why that word is just a waste of everybody's time. And I showed a video where they're calling married men that term when they don't like them on Twitter. So it just sucks that the whole comment section was some guy writing paragraphs about my love life. It's like I always like it when men write novels about my romantic endeavors. It's got that nice homoerotic subtext on top of it. Like literally, the whole comment section is one coming from Megumi, and then a man writing several paragraphs about me. Like, I'm so flattered. Okay, but it doesn't make that man have to accept any woman, but they have to accept any woman, but they don't have to. Yeah, guys, like I still stick to my standards. I don't if I don't find a woman attractive in any way, I'm not going to bother with her. No. I feel like if people can reject you over and over, you should be able to reject some of them back as well. It's just like with that friend zone thing. It's like if that broad had agreed to go on a date and then had said, "Hey, if I don't like this, we still speak," I would have done it. But you can't give people what they want while being denied what you want, because then it just incentivizes the same ridiculousness. I heard someone say responsibility of a man is to make her appreciated and boost her confidence. Yeah, it's not your job to make somebody else like themselves. How insane is that? Okay, but it doesn't make you're basically saying men shouldn't be picky, but women can. I'm assuming you're talking about Grand Zeal, because I've never said that. That's why a lot of times I look at these chicks and these men are with. I'm like, what is attractive about her at all? Like the thing that with the baby at least like looks all right, but who wants to be with someone that makes them lose all their money? Like what in the world? Watched your previous stream, saw you were dealing with the dating experts. They seriously need to take their nonsense elsewhere. Oh, thanks, Roman. I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're all right. I appreciate it. Of course we don't, but some men are so lost in this society, they rather have something than nothing by any means. Now, Roman, these people come on these streams and they just like they talk nonsense. And one of them even admitted he was just doing it to troll. And I'm like, why even bother with that? We're over here trying to have a productive dialogue where nobody's calling anybody names, nobody's trying to like argue someone down, and you want to sit here and waste people's time with that. And again, when you block them because they're disrupting the rest of the chat, I'm being censored. My free speech is being deprivated. I had 100 people on my stream last week. Nobody got blocked because nobody was writing like weird stuff that's just meant to distract from everybody. Or if they were, you know, the rest of the chat didn't just ignore them. I certainly won't be. Definitely not going to be with some chick like that. Megumi, imagine an alternate universe, right? Where let's say, even if she was the only chick on Earth, yeah. Imagine an alternate universe where you get yourself kicked out of your house because you like talk trash to the person that owns it, right? And then you have this girlfriend and she starts paying for your stuff to like be kept in like a storage unit, right? And then in your appreciation is cheating on her and cursing her out over the phone. I guarantee you, if that story happened with you, and it came out to be on you talk about online, right? Not a single person on this website, male or female, would defend you. Would say that that woman was smart for being with you. But when you're a man, you just put up with everything a broad does. Dude, every time there's financial stuff in a relationship and like in real life that I see, it's always the guy paying for the broad every time. But that people will swear chicks aren't gold diggers. They only like you for money. LOL, holy cow, nobody with less than a 0% chance of that happening for real. Yeah, because like that's why I said that people want you, like they want you to be like the piggy bank for these broads as well as the like it's so weird. That's why it's really scary to think about what would have happened if I actually stayed with that gold digger, because like in 10 days you could ask for money every day. It would be really bad if I ever cracked, if I said, all right, let me do this. Maybe she'll reward me. That's funny when they're like, oh, the hookers don't care. It's like, well, neither do regular chicks. I mean, this one made this man lose all this money and then was cursing him out and cheating on him. Like, you better believe if I had some broad that I'm not related to paying for my stuff, I'd be on my hands and knees like, oh, thank you so much. But she didn't do that for him. I didn't see her say thank you to him one time. Good thing you don't give them the time of day. I'm doing well. Hope all is well with you. Trust me, I understand your plight with the dating trolls. Yeah, they're just a really aggravating group because it's like I've had people in my own like one of my mods, for example, didn't agree with me, and it's like you'll sit there and you'll explain to this person, you'll have a dialogue where nobody insults someone, and then they just spout nonsense. Like they're talking about famous people having better relationships, and I'm able to name like 20 wrestlers that have more than one wife, and all these other celebrities been married, more for literally every finger on my hand. It's like, just it's nonsense. Just imagine a chick doing that for you in alternate universe. Just wow, even imagining it, it's like not possible. It's just like when people tell you that there are chicks that can't get men. It's like I don't see groups of chicks complaining about getting rejected over and over. It's just men. They keep saying there are chicks that get rejected too. Where? Show me them. Watch it be like one guy said no to them. It's not going to be 10, 20, 30 men that they tried getting with. It's like, please show me. One woman wants the guy to still pay for expenses after they broke up until she finds someone else. Like what? Oh, that reminds me of something that happened to somebody where this guy woke up at this woman's house and she said, "You're still here." And at some point before this or after this, she wanted him to help her pay for bills. And he's like, "I wouldn't have a problem doing this, but if I did, you're not going to tell me you're still here when I wake up." That happened when I was in seventh grade. I just always remember that. I want you to help me pay bills, and you go to sleep after paying bills in the house. You're still here. Oh yeah, I don't ever see that either. Not online or in dude. I went to like 5 or 6 different schools. I never saw a single chick talking about this guy. I like him back, but he said no. I've never seen that. The dating world is so fecal. It's so fickle. It's too much to bother with. It is fecal matter. It's like just a complete defecation. Some women go through dating hardships too. Just isn't comparable to men's dating difficulties. Though women have many dudes asking for dates, men don't get that often, if not at all. Yeah. Well, that was my point. It's like, yeah, sure. There are some chicks that I guess, like when you see famous chicks, right? The ones we gave the examples of that have multiple husbands, like Elizabeth Taylor with her 7. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe that person had trouble getting someone to stay with them, but it's like they still have options of dating, of like getting with multiple men. Like if you're a guy just trying to get a date, which we've explained is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, is like made into this Herculean task that requires all of these extra efforts. And it's just that's my point, that even if you say chicks have issues as well, it's not comparable. Monk mode here. All women have to do is just sit there. Yeah. So like people, they always want to blame you for this stuff and wait for the attention to flow in like a private equity fund. Dude, that broad not showing her face and having 50 men try to talk to her, I'll always remember that. Because I'm always told, beautiful women, you can expect they're gonna have multiple men, but none of these men knew what she looked like, and they still, all of them were like, it was nuts. Well, why try if the men are coming to them? Yeah, but then it's like, why should I try if they have all these men swarming them? Like, you know what that's like? Imagine there's a fish. Like you've seen Finding Nemo. Imagine like there's a little fish that's just outside, just like in the water, right? Just circling around. And then like 10 sharks are all circling around this fish trying to like vie to like eat it. And then you're a shark as well, right? And you see these 10 sharks, like, are you really gonna sit there and go, oh, I'm gonna try to compete with these other 10 sharks for that fish that probably won't eat, isn't worth, a full meal for today anyway? Or are you gonna go and try somewhere else? Like when you find out broads have multiple other men they're talking to, I just say screw it. And then even then you have ones that have a boyfriend that will sit there and portray themselves as being single because they want your attention. That was another joke I had, that when you're a single man, every time you talk to a broad, there's like this weird erotic subtext. Like imagine talking to a broad about, and you can see this in my why do women with boyfriends like talking to me? It's like imagine talking to a broad about movies on Instagram, and then all of a sudden she asks you for a picture of yourself, and you're like, what the hell? And then you think, oh, maybe this person likes me, because again, like why does someone I'm talking to about films need a picture of me? And then you find out like after a month of talking to her that she has a boyfriend. It's like, oh well, yeah, what the hell is the point of the picture? You see how that stuff just misleads you? I go out of my way to tell others I will never put in a ton of effort for someone else who wouldn't put in as much effort as me when dating. Yeah, these chicks don't do anything. That's why most will be quiet about it if they're not single, so they can keep talking to you forever. Yeah, and like that's what really is just bizarre to me. And I'm like, what? You know, you sit here with this broad for a whole month, and she doesn't mention this guy again until this month is almost over. It's like you think that, oh, she wasn't purposely trying to make sure I didn't find out about this individual. And it's weird to me. It's like, if you have a boyfriend, why do you need to talk to men on the computer? Like, again, alternate universe here, right? Imagine I have a girlfriend in real life, and then I'm talking to chicks on a computer either for hours or like daily sending. It's like, that's weird. Dude, everybody knows chicks just they're playing like three-dimensional chess with just the stuff they do with men. Like, and they always play victim. Oh man, these guys are talking to me. I hate the attention, but I logged on this website. Yeah, yeah, reverse gender harem. They try to make you part of their harem by not mentioning the other men they're talking to. It's like, just talk to him. Like, you saw me in that message, tell that broad I can disappear. Like, oh, don't go. And then guess what you get in the end? No dates, the friend zoning, and what a lovely prize that was worth sticking out for. I'm not being part of any chick's harem. They know that men don't find that like appealing, so they have to do this sneaky stuff. Oh, let me pretend I don't have a boyfriend. Let me pretend I'm single, so that this man will talk to me. Told you it's all red herring. That's why I wanted to make the video, the romance comic book. Red herring and plot twist. Those are the two things working together. Because when I've got a broad who's asking me for a picture of myself, I'm gonna think she's interested. Because like, why else would she be asking for that? But then the plot twist is, oh no, she has a boyfriend. It's like, but then what was the point of asking for the photo? You see how that stuff just keeps not adding up? Like it all just is like strange. Because again, a man who has a girlfriend that's talking to some broad online about movies, asking her for a picture of herself, people would say that's weird. People would say he probably is trying to cheat on his girlfriend. But with chicks, it's like some weird, dipping your toe in uh, infidelity. I guess maybe that's just the biggest issue, that like chicks do things that are so contradictory that you don't really like. They're kind of like the Joker. Like, you don't really know what they're going to do next because it's all over the place. Like, any semblance of logic would dictate they would do something for this reason, but they don't actually do it for that reason. Like, they'll sit there and talk to a man for weeks or months and then get him to think, oh, she likes me back, we're going to go on a date. And then nope. And it just happens over and over. And you're like, well, I'm not wrong for feeling that way, because people told me that if a woman likes you, she will talk to you. So why else would she talk to me if she didn't like you? Oh, I just like you as a friend. It's like, okay, well then go and be friends with somebody else. Should have sent her a photo of John Cena. Should have sent her a photo of my middle finger. Again, at the time, I thought it was a single chick because she didn't mention having a boyfriend. Guys who endorse and participate in this mess as are the reason women are so empowered to make men disposable. Yeah, and I'm like, I have these guys that come to my stuff and they're like actually confused as to why I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, the Joker. He's unpredictable. Like, you can watch pretty much anything with him in it. There's like these plans that are all over the place. That's how chicks are. They need to just start wearing white face paint with red lipstick, which a lot of them already do. Like, I looked at the dingbat with the baby's picture of her with her kid. She is wearing red lipstick. I wish I could just put it in Photoshop, make her hair green, and make her little outfit she had on purple, because that's what that is. Yeah, chicks are like the Joker. Again, a broad that you go up to, you ask her on a date, she says no. I would have no issue with that. I would get only irritated because who likes being rejected? But it would be something that made sense to me. But talking to some broad for weeks or months where say, I only like you as a like, who wants to do that? What is gained from doing that? How is that a victory? How is that appealing? What about that makes you want to go and talk to another broad? No one can ever explain that. Because again, chicks are not serving their purpose. And people can call you sexist for saying it, but again, if you're a single straight man, you're not supposed to sit there and talk to a bunch of chicks that don't like you over and over again for literal years, and then be like incentivized to keep doing it because one day Magic Woman will show up. That's why I did the stream. She's not coming, and I had the guy that was like angry with me in the stream and talk about I'm gonna unsubscribe. Like, go away. Like nobody cares. I don't know, but some of these do say they need to know a man. So yeah, that's a little gimmick they use to get you to talk to them and waste your time. Like that chick that asked me on a asked me on a date that I said yes to in the video. She was doing the I want to get to know you first thing as well. That's literally just a scam they do to get you to waste your time with them. Like, what is the point of trying to quote unquote get to know someone if you're just going to turn around and say, I only asked you out because I thought I liked you, but I got really confused. Like, you don't see where that's weird, where that's a complete waste of everybody's time, where that would piss the man off who thought that the long nightmare might finally be over. No, it's deliberately misleading. They're trying to get you to talk to them so they can get what they want and while not giving you what you want. When we'll talk on a live stream and still being I wouldn't be surprised. I know a woman who has a husband and her husband sits online all day talking about another man for months. Yes, it's fully a scam and tricks they like to pull on you. Yeah. Because again, they know that if they don't offer themselves in like a weird erotic role, you're not going to be interested because you don't like. I don't need female friends. I don't. Like unless I'm doing a project with a broad or like some kind of again some assignment or so. I don't talk to chicks because they don't fulfill their purpose. But a lot of them are upset by that, and they want you to speak to them, so they offer themselves in these quasi sexual roles, even if nothing actually ends up coming out of it. Because again, the image is that it's someone that likes you, and they actually don't. It's all designed to like. That's why they love to, because they know that chicks that actually like a man will talk to him for weeks or months. So they give you the imagery of a chick that likes a man. They talk to you for weeks or months. They compliment you. Oh my God, we have such a connection. But then they don't actually do anything because that's part of the scheme. You're getting all of the ingredients that would lead someone to think, oh, this person might actually go on a date with me, just not get the end result. They get screwed over. Right, whether it be attention, emotional support, or money. And like I said, man, it's like they have all these other guys they can talk to. Why don't they just speak to one of them? Like, I don't feel bad for them. If you're not going to give somebody what they want, why should they give you what you want? I mentioned that at the time I talked to the Discord snake. You can go watch that video if you know what that is. And there was a chick that like agreed to marry me and then reneged after a couple of days, and then for like 3 months was doing well, I might change my mind, like nonsense. And I remember how the Discord snake said that the chick was literally only saying she might change her mind to incentivize me to keep talking to someone that had already, like turned down what I wanted to get out of me what she wanted without giving me what I wanted because, chicks don't believe in fairness. They want to, get all of the rewards, but none of the things that would actually have to be sacrificed to, make things fair for both sides, because there's no compromise. It's just give, give, give. It's just take, 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 and no, don't give you anything back. So it was funny that like he was able to look at that and say, yeah, this is it's a nice little scam she's running, because they have this triangle. And it doesn't it start to seem even, that's why I said they're like the Joker. Doesn't it start to seem even weirder that they would put this much effort into like coercing you or some other man to talk to them without giving you what you want, when they have these other men talking to them? Like, I really am serious about how, if a woman has a boyfriend that this guy that she thinks is so much better than all the other men, has to stay with them, why does she need to talk to these other men? Like, it's really weird. You don't think that's strange? Like that's bizarre. Like, why are you doing this? What's the purpose of this? No, what I'm saying is, it doesn't make sense to me to be with someone, right? And then try to talk to other people about things you can talk to with that person. And I guess I explain it. If I have like hypothetical alternate reality, right? Let's say I have a girlfriend, right? And I'm talking to some other woman in the same way that these chicks were speaking to me while having a boyfriend. It doesn't make sense to me to be with someone who you apparently think is like better than everybody else, but then still try to have these like interactions with these other chicks, like in this like hypothetical. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. If this man or this woman you're with is so good, why do you need to speak to these other people and pretend to be single when talking to them? So I said they're like the Joker. I can't wait for one of these broads when they block me, before they block me, they're like, you ever dance to the devil in the pale moonlight? You're like, what? I said to everybody I block. It's like, without a woman in your life, you're nothing. I mean, that's how people like to treat you. And like I said, if you said that to women, you said, if you're not getting banana, you're nothing. People will call you sexist in 2 minutes. No, in 2 seconds, like, you're sexist. Like, I want somebody to just count 1, 2, and then they say that. Because remember, we preach the independence of chicks. They don't need a man, right? But apparently men need chicks. So you see how it goes back to that whole thing of how stuff is not even. How it's like, it's designed to be as slanted toward the broad as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because equality only is considered when it favors the chick and what she desires. Yeah. Um, and again, a lot of people, they preach that stuff, but they don't actually do it. Because, like I said, if it was really equal, you would see like groups of chicks getting rejected, and them approaching men, and like, it just tells you how people want to say things are better or more equal, but they're not, and they're content with it not being equal, because those ways in which it's not equal don't negatively affect chicks. In this society, a single man is shunned while a single woman is praised, etc. Yeah, I know a bunch of chicks that are single. Nobody calls them gay or says they're going to shoot up a building or blow up a school or any of that nonsense, or they need to work on themselves until infinity and beyond. Like, it's only men that there's this like so much negative baggage just thrown your way over this topic. And it's again, it's just, I don't see where any of it is productive. Like, I had people who got mad at me for saying I would focus on things that actually fulfilled me versus talking to a bunch of chicks that don't even like me. Like, they got upset over me for saying that. It's like, how dare you want to do things that you actually like? Ugh. treat chicks with the utmost focus. They always pick some like different vocab word that makes them sound smarter than they actually are. I feel like before they write a comment, they go on to a thesaurus and look up some word. This stuff really is sad. Like I would love to come on here and offer advice, but I don't have any. Because chicks are so insane, they will do things that make you think they like you just to say, "Oh no, got you." Just kidding. If you can get rejected by a broad that asks you on a date, that should tell you everything you need to know about chicks and your prospects with them. Then again, I'm not a woman, so I'm not sure what they're thinking. They just have oh, come on, man. That us as men will never experience. Well, I could say I have experiences that chicks will never experience, and you still have broads that are talking about men getting rejected and the I word. No, you probably did this and you probably are that. So I don't really feel sympathetic toward them. So I said, if when people do nothing but talk trash about you, I'm not going to play this game of, well, I should try to empathize and I should consider that these are things I'll never experience. Because whatever you do has to be catered around the chick. Yeah, we got to understand her psychosis and where she's coming from. Like, man, the hell with you. You think any of these people sat here and tried to understand me? And I was in my comment section getting attacked over just simply saying getting a date is very difficult for no reason. You think any of them were like, oh man, maybe we should actually try to understand this? No. They wrote nasty comment after nasty comment. Same thing when I was on Discord. It's like, you get kicked out of a server because someone else screenshots you saying hello to them. And because they're a woman, it automatically has to be interpreted as a sexual thing, even if all you're saying is hello. You think any of them were like, oh, maybe we should try to understand it? No, they just mocked me. They were like, he's single. So that's why I said I don't care about trying to understand chicks. No one has ever tried to understand a single thing that's happened to me with these broads. I'm not supporting what they're doing or feeling sympathetic. I'm just saying I'll never understand the mindset of a woman. Well, maybe it's impossible to understand it. I mean, James, would you ask somebody on a date and then when they say yes, say, oh, I just got really confused after saying we need to get to know each other first? Would you say that you have a girlfriend and then sit on the phone with a woman for 4 hours? That's not your girlfriend late at night? Would you cheat on a woman that was paying for you to be able to keep your stuff somewhere safe and curse her out over the phone? Like, what is there to understand? A bunch of these people just waste your time, or they're ungrateful, they're nasty. They offer nothing other than that. Like, you don't have to understand the mindset of a chick to know this is bad behavior. This is really awful. There's nothing good about this. If she's got psychosis, then she should go to a psychiatrist. Oh no, everybody on the computer is a psychiatrist, whatever. Everybody on here has a psychology degree. I had people analyzing me from 10-minute videos. I was like, do you not know what a public persona is? Sometimes people, when they get online, act differently than they do in real life. So how are you going to watch somebody and be like, I now know how this person thinks and acts in real life? Like, what the hell? That is creepy. But men like to do that, or at least they liked to do that when I was doing my stuff. So then I'll never understand the guys who try to defend it. Yeah, because they want, it's always your fault. That's why I said you get stabbed by a chick and they would go, well, you probably looked at her the wrong way. You probably made her scared. Because no matter what happens with the broad, it's always your fault. You got to wear the pity and the blame. Tell you, this is the romance crucifixion. I really want to make like a little like live action skit where it's just me carrying a cross and having like all these people. It's your fault. It's your fault. If she says no, you're supposed to be like Professor X and make her go on a date. If she says no, you're supposed to be like Baby from GT and jump in her skin. Because again, it's always based around you being the person who screwed everything up. Let women have to do what men do in the dating world for a week, or let men stop pursuing for a month. The world will see change. These examples of women ranting about their entitlement for attention. Yeah, like I've had chicks that I've blocked, and they'll still try to contact me, and it's like you're not contacting me because you thought you felt you had some love or whatever. Like you're doing that so that I can appeal to you, while you don't appeal to me. I'm not kidding. I've blocked at least 3 different chicks at various points, and they've still tried to contact me after. And I'm like, if you don't want to go on a date, get away from me. Like they actually do. Some of them feel entitled, or like they are like owed your continue talking to them. Like you're not allowed to leave them alone. But again, because they're broads, they get away with it. Anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. So thanks, King. I appreciate the donation. James, Agumi, Brandon, Euro Dollar if you're even still here. So I'll do another stream on Saturday. I might maybe do in the middle of the week. I don't know. I'll try to put out an edited video. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it.